a fifth base go up in the top right. Plague going off over Scourge and tanks. And distance mining down here at this natural base. So it looks like just tanks are going to be able to shell down there. And Swarm, though, coming out here, and Swarm is... Defilers are the bane. And a nice, sweet drop there coming in, taking out those tanks that were plagued. And it looks like these tanks, however, are going to be able to wipe up these Ultralisks and still push in the front door here. But Defilers, like I said, both of their main spells, Plague and Dark Swarm, are just the bane of the Terran mech army existence. And, yeah, just losing some science vessels here out in the field. Sorry about these brain tracks here, guys. I'm just having such a rough time with this flu. It's a head flu, too, so, like, I'm just losing my mind, apparently. But, anyway, some harassing units going off over here. Zero doing a really interesting thing here, just dropping little squads, overlords filled with Zerglings. And now, both these players expanding extremely close to one another, not having the forces to really do anything about it, though. They're just going to have to mine there in peace, just having this treaty go off. And it looks like, though, Fantasy pulling those vultures away from that 6 o'clock base. I'm not sure what he's going to be using those for. Perhaps they were just numbered in some kind of group. And, oh, a ton of Lings there, though, just barreling down and just slaying all these SCVs. All the mining SCVs are going to go down, and this command center is going to be harassed as well. Fantasy not looking in that great of a position. He had the army advantage there, and a ton of mines going off, though. This could be game altering. A ton of mines going off on all these Ultralisks. If he would have lost those Ultralisks, that would have been definitely game altering, losing a pack of 4 Ultralisks. And now it looks like those Zero is mining off of 3 bases and barely mining off of that top right, I have to say. And Fantasy, yeah, like I said, not multitasking very well, not lifting off that command center at the top right. Fantasy, though, does have just an immense amount of map control. He doesn't have very many mining SCVs, though, I have to say. He's been harassed left and right, and it looks like all these mines and vultures just be able to slay those Zerglings trying to run in there and defend that base that's trying to go up. And Dark Swarm and Ultralisks and Lings, oh my, running amok in the main base of Fantasy here, going all over the factories, all over the production line, and now he's focus firing down those supply depots, which is going to really set Fantasy with his mech army behind. He is going to be able to clean this up, but he's going to have to take a 5th base, I feel, in order to contend with Zero, who is now just mass expanding all over the map. He's got a lot of production hatcheries in his main, though, and he's actually going to lose that hatchery down at the bottom left there. And I'm hoping, though, that Fantasy swings those vultures around to the 6 o'clock position again before any kind of defenses can go up. Yeah, he is going to swing around there. He's going to pick off these mining drones and perhaps be able to pick off this hatchery, which is just so badly damaged. He really needs to pick off that hatchery. He's going to pick off those few remaining drones, and I think there's going to be some reinforcing units. And yes, more harassment coming in here for Fantasy. So Fantasy, just a crazy back and forth game here. Fantasy swinging around, doing all the harassment he needs to do. He might be able to pick off yet another hatchery. I think this will be like the 3rd or 4th hatchery that Fantasy picks off, and it looks like those drones retreating to the only place they can, which is an empty base. However, there are vultures there, a ton of just massive amounts of supply being lost here for Fantasy, and Fantasy finally pushing in with some tanks to clean up Zerglings of all things. The Zerglings just harassing the crap. And yeah, so Zero was multitasking there. He was specifically focus firing down those supply depots, and it looks like just both these guys are just so good with their harassing, just denying mining all over the place. All these bases are up and running. It's like a 6-on-6 base game, but there's just so little mining going off anywhere for both of these players. Now finally Fantasy picking up his micro, his multitasking, being able to micro those tanks, micro those vultures around against that Ultralisk, drag him into some mines. And yeah, so mines here, I guess the name of the game for Fantasy, just doing so much damage, so much harassment, and yeah, just I don't even know. I can't keep up with how many bases are actually mining, how many are not, how many bases are still up, how many are going down, how many are lifted off, how many are, I don't even know, exploded and burning. And just absolutely crazy here. One Scourge lands there on that Science Vessel. That Science Vessel, actually, I feel will be critical, just in case there are lurkers in anywhere in the map. And an Irradiate going off across that Overlord, but that Overlord's going to be able to unload his payload before actually passing away. Yeah, there he goes, just popping. So drops in the main name of the game for Zero here, and Vultures, and just massive pushes. Both these guys just playing a just phenomenal game right now. Zero here just pushing into the main, just dropping into the main, rather, just continuously taking out those supply depots, which is just destroying Fantasy right now. That is the absolute best unit that... Sorry, the best... Oh, Mind Drag's going off over everything. Huge explosion. But yeah, the best thing that that Zero can be target firing down right now. And a bunch of links coming in here, dropping over these sieged up tanks. So it's almost like Zero's playing this kind of like a TVT, where he's just using drops to his just massive advantage. And unfortunately for Fantasy, he does not have... the ability to take out that hatchery, but as I say it though, he's going to push that whole force down, and he's going to try to barrel down on that that hatchery, which has almost no health at this point. And unfortunately for Zero, irradiated Ultralisks do not actually help him against a mech army, because mech does not take damage from that irradiate. And it looks like, oh, yeah, trying to set up a hatchery there. A ton of drones around, but Fantasy actually focus fires the one that was in the position to take the hatchery. And man, oh man, just such a phenomenal game. Fantasy forcing the cancel on that, on that hatchery there. And this force here now for Fantasy pushing in here. However, if this drop goes down, if this drop is just completely defended, then I'm going to have to say that the game is Fantasy's to win. Dropping potentially on that mine there. However, these forces are all over the place for Fantasy. Mine going off there, hitting a bunch of his own tanks. However, hitting the Ultralisks as well. Stark Swarm going down over everything, and it looks like Fantasy does clean everything up here. Wow, quite comprehensively. Did not see those tanks in the background. I was wondering where that those splash shells were coming from, and it looks like, though, finally Fantasy is back on a 4v4 base game, and losing another Science Vessel there, almost losing another one, but both those Scourge have landed, and drops the name of the game here, 4-0. I don't think, however, that he's going to be able to pull this off, like I've been saying for the past, 45 seconds, when there has finally been a little bit of a teeter into against Zero's totter in this game, because he's finally established his bases. He's finally being able to defend, as well as establish some pressure. He took down the bases that he needed to, and mines. Name of the game. Fantasy establishing those mines pre-drop, just predetermining that drop going down, and Vultures and Mines being able to micro against these Ultralisks and Lings. Oh, very nice Mind Drag, though, from those Lings, being able to keep that Ultralisk alive without fear of the Mines. Those Overlords are able to detect those Mines as well. You have to keep that in mind. And Vultures, wow, never did I think that I would see the day where Vultures are the unit that just take down an Ultralisk, and actually I still won't see that day, because that Ultralisk stayed alive. These eggs are going to pop, going down before they even hatch, and some Zerglings escaped there. I think one or two Zerglings got away from those eggs, and yeah, Zero, I think, knows what's up. He knows that he's in an extremely, disadvantageous position that he's in right now. He knows that he's going to lose this game. It's now 3 base on 4 base, like it was earlier. So I do have to commend Zero, though, for coming back in this game when he was so far economically behind, but he just didn't make it seem that way due to how well he was fighting. So SKT1, Fantasy, just smashing this game. An excellent game. Oh my god. I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Will here. He loves Zero, so I hope that he watches this game. Will, I'm sorry that your man lost, but he played a phenomenal game. He played a creative, fast-teching build, but man, oh man, Fantasy, my boy, takes it out in the end. So shout out to you, Will, but I'm going to have to say dominated by my boy. So, anyways, good game, good series, guys. Hope you enjoyed. And by the way, I want to throw out that the reason that I did these games today was so that I could prove to myself that I could commentate and get games onto YouTube in the same day. So today is, what day is it today? It's January the 11th, Monday. If they're not up by January the 11th, everybody freaking put bad comments, 1 star, everything me. I'm telling you, do it. because, oh, man, I made a resolution for the new year that I'm going to do this. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I say it every time, but I mean it this time. Looking forward to commentating in the future. GG, guys. Gotta love it.